Okay, so let's get going on the dimensioning of this Geneva Cam drawing. First thing we're going to do, we're going to go back into the construction layer. Excuse me. And we're going to add an arc. Excuse me, we don't need to do this on the construction layer. We're going to do this on the center line layer. We're going to add an arc over here, and we're going to put it between this construction line and this construction line on this outer circle. We're going to do it in the center line layer, as I said. And we're just going to do a start, a center, make sure you choose the center, and an end. And why that end doesn't look correct? Let me delete that. Start that over again. So we do a start, a center, and then an end. That looks a little better. And now we can go ahead and turn off the construction layer. And you'll that one I didn't bring down far enough. Let's go back and do one more. So you want to go down to this construction line. We're going to start here, start, center, and then end. There we go. That looks better. Okay, so let's start dimensioning. We'll go into our dimension layer, and as we start adding our dimensions, we're going to start. Let's start over here. Let's first go into our dimension styles, modify. Let's make sure a few things. One, primary units, 2 decimal points. We don't ever need 3 decimal points. In our fit, I have draw dimension lines between external lines. And you can see the difference here. What it does, and you'll see how that affects it as we go ahead and do the drawing. Okay. Let's hit close, and let's just start dimensioning. So we'll start over here. We've got our 0.5 inches. And actually, because I have that draw dimension lines set up now, things might start looking a little goofy. So I'm going to do the following. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to leave the place text manually off here as well. Hit OK. But then I'm going to create a new style. And I'm just going to call this new style. And I'm going to set this one up in the new style. Draw dimension lines between external lines. Make sure my primary units are 0.0. Hit OK. And I want to make sure I start in the standard style. Set that as the current and hit close. I'm going to delete this and start over. So I'm going to go ahead. Something changed a little bit there. Let's go back to dimension styles. Format. Dimension styles. Modify. text placement beside the dimension line. I think that'll be okay. Yeah, we like that better. Okay, so I'm going to head and zoom that. Let's go ahead and place our 8-inch dimension here, our 2.5-inch there, and then our radius out here. And you can see this is the radius. Sometimes is a little tricky to set up. I'm going to go into my other dimension style and see how it comes out there. So in my dimensions, I can actually change my dimension style right here. We haven't talked about this before. I can go to my new style and see what my radius dimension looks like there. Ah, there we go. So there's a good radius dimension. Okay, so I have that 60-degree angle that has to go in over here. I also have that 1 inch in the bottom. Let's do that 1 inch first, then we'll do that 60-degree angle over here. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, that's the start over here. 1 inch. Put in just like that, and actually we can move the dimension out there. And in this case, I want to go back to the standard dimension style to put that in. It comes out properly. That's better. Okay, so now we want to do that 60-degree angle. So we can go ahead and click on this line and click on that line, and then we can bring the arc up. You can see we have the arc there. Okay, so now as we start doing some of these diameters, we're going to go into our new style dimension and we're going to pull out our diameter. So we're going to do the center one here first, and we're going to pull this out, and we see we get a diameter 1.5. And what we have is something a little bit unusual, or a little bit different, I should say, where we don't have the arrows in the middle. And what we can do is we can click on this dimension and go to quick properties. Excuse me, not quick properties. We want to go to properties. And in the properties tab, we can look up the fit. And over here, there's a lot of different things we can play around with. So we go to move text, no leader. And that actually gives us the proper setting, but then we don't have the leader. So all we have to do is add a leader back in. Although I don't really like where I place that. So let's go and actually move that first. And we may be able to move that afterwards. Let's blow this up a little bit. And I'm not sure. Yeah, so as we move this, you can see that it does actually move properly. So when we move this, that angle moves as well. And we can then just connect a line to the dimension. Or if you wanted to, you could actually pull out a leader as well. And you want to get it right off of the circle there. There is another way to do this. And I looked at the various dimension styles and I did not run across the proper one. I think you can also come in here and change the let's see. There may be some other settings you can change to get it better. Now, if you force the dimension line on or off with this, what happens is you get a dimension arrow that actually looks like that. But then you don't get the arrows internally. And then when you put the arrows in internally, then you get the arrows that are external instead of internal. So there's a bunch of different ways you can play with this. And if we move this, in order to get the proper dimension, and I'll actually look up and I'll determine. This is sort of a little bit of a kludge. I do apologize for this, but I'll look up and get this determined. I might have it actually ready by class time to let you guys know what the correct procedure is. Okay, so we don't have to do the 2-inch. We do have to do the 4-inch. Again, we can do the same thing. Pull it out. Not quick properties, properties. And then again in properties, in the fit, we set it to move text no leader, and then we actually just manually drew a leader in to give us what we want. Oh, and of course I drew that in on the wrong point, didn't I? We don't need it from there. We only need it from the 4-inch circle. Let's do that again. The other alternative is you can leave it as is, which is not necessarily bad. And I think I'm going to leave the 4 as is. All right, so we have this 1.5 radius over here. And we can do this one here. So we select the arc. And here again we can play with our dimension styles and see which one comes out better. And right there's the one that we want. So we want our standard dimension, and that gives us exactly what we want. We need our 0.5-inch opening over here. And finally, we just need our keyway. So with our keyway, we can just bring up a leader So we want to, the way this leader is this, the top part is here and the bottom part is down here with the arrow. So we want to bring the arrow down this way, and then the text is going to go up here. And then we can type in 0.36 space times 0.20 keyway. And you can see I've got lots of typos there, so we're going to fix this. 0.36, and in this case I have keyway, one word, all capital. Okay, so the other things they have is they have this specified as a diameter, which it should be. So we come over here, and in front of the 2.5, we can type %% which puts in the diameter symbol. And then we can move over here and we do the same thing in front of the 8. %. In that case, we accidentally erase the 8. We don't want to do that. %C, and we get the diameter symbol. Okay, so that completes this drawing. Again, as I mentioned, I'm not going to just yet go over the viewport. You may have seen the viewport if you've looked in the book. We'll talk about the viewport, and I'll get the information for getting that dimension completely proper as it's shown here. I actually have this drawing here that is actually, believe it or not, and I can show you this, is actually set up to properly put the dimension in. But for the life of me, I can't figure out what the setting is to get it correct. Okay, so this is the end of the video. Please make sure you save your drawing. This is the drawing that you will need to hand in.